Okay, today we'll solve a few problems from previous year question papers. The first problem is from midterm exam that was held on Okay, so the problem is we have a semi-infinite wedge which is subjected to uniform pressure load Q on one of its edges. So we have the semi-infinite wedge on which we have uniform pressure load Q is being applied. The coordinate system is mentioned in the figure shown. So we'll be using a polar coordinate system. So this represents the radial direction and theta is measured from the x-axis. So on this edge we have pressure loading which is uniform, and on the edge which is this angle is theta naught. So this edge is basically traction field. So for this problem we are given with a stress function phi of the form r square times f of theta. Now we are supposed to find a differential equation for this f of theta. We know the condition. So we have this equation del raised to 4 phi equals to 0. So if we use this equation, we'll be able to get some differential equation for this f of theta. So let's get this first differential equation for f of theta. So we know in cylindrical coordinate system, del square phi is del square by del r square plus 1 over r del by del r plus 1 over r square del square by del theta square of phi. So here del square phi will get del square by del r square plus 1 over r del over del r plus 1 over r square del square over del theta square of this phi function is r square f of theta. So after solving this particular equation, so we get del square phi equals to, if we operate on this function, so we'll get 2f of theta plus again 2f of theta plus d2f over d theta square. So in short, we get del square phi equals to del 2f over del theta square plus 4 times f of theta. Now we have another equation. So now the basic equation is del 4 phi equal to 0. So del 4 phi can be written as del square of phi equal to 0. So this is the equation we have to satisfy. And now again we use the definition of del square here. So del square on del r square plus 1 over r del over del r plus 1 over r square del square upon del theta square. Now it is operating on del square phi, which is a function of theta. So these terms will contribute to 0. So basically it is operated on d square f over d theta square plus 4 times f of theta, which is equal to 0. Now as we see, this function f is a function of theta alone. So this entire bracket is a function of theta. So these first two operators will contribute to 0. So the only operator which is giving non-zero value is the last one. So from this equation we get the differential equation for f, which is like d4f over d theta raised to 4 plus 4 times d2f over d theta square equal to 0. Now let g be another function which is a function of theta, which is equal to d2f over d theta square. So from this now we have got this equation for f of theta. So we will get d square g over d theta square plus 4 times g of theta equal to 0. So we know the solution for this differential equation. So we get g of theta equals to some constant a sin 2 theta plus another constant b cos 2 theta. Now let's put this g of theta into this differential equation. So we'll get d2f of 4 d theta square equals to a sin 2 theta plus b cos 2 theta. So by solving this differential equation, we get f of theta equal to, we'll write some other constant, b cos 2 theta, and integrating twice we get a linear function of theta which will be like c theta plus t. So this is the form we get by solving this differential. There has to be equal to 0 condition. We get this differential equation for f of theta. By solving that f of theta, we get an expression for f of theta like this. So it has 4 constants a, b, c, d. Now we have to use the boundary conditions to this problem to find out these constants. So but it is mentioned that we are not supposed to find these constants, but we just need to express the equations from these boundary conditions. So let's find the equations which will be used for solving these constants. So now we have two faces. See, this body is actually semi-infinite body. So we don't have any surface at some r equal to r naught or something like that, because it is semi-infinite body. So basically we have two surfaces. One is our theta equal to 0 surface on which we have uniform pressure load which is equal to q, and we have another surface theta equals to theta naught which is traction free. So let us consider. Now I'll just write this form of f somewhere, and we'll write now the traction boundary conditions. So we have got f of theta equals to a sin 2 theta plus b cos 2 theta plus c theta plus d. Now let us consider surface or edge, we can say, as we are solving the problem. Theta equals to 0. So on this surface, if we find the normal will be pointing, suppose this is the surface, theta equals to theta equals to 0, the normal is pointing outward like this. So in polar coordinates, the e theta direction, the theta rotation is here given in the figure. So this normal will be pointing opposite to e theta. So we have this normal to be 0, minus 1. Now we use this Cauchy relation. So traction on this surface will be tau n. So from this tau will be tau r theta, and tau theta theta. Multiplied by normal 0, minus 1, we get minus tau r theta minus tau theta theta. So on this surface, on theta equal to 0, our traction is basically, we have this traction q in the theta direction, which is aligned in the theta direction, e theta direction. There is no traction applied in r direction. So we have component of traction in r direction which is equal to 0, and if we see the direction of q, it is in the direction of e theta. So because your radial direction, this er is pointing like this, and e theta will be pointing like this in this on this particular edge. So we have this QD. So this implies on theta equal to 0, we have tau r theta equal to 0 and tau theta theta which is equal to minus 1, because from this Cauchy relation we have got this components to be minus tau r theta and minus tau theta theta. And from the applied load, we have got this traction to be 0 and q. So if we equate this, we'll get tau r theta equal to 0 and tau theta theta equal to minus q on this surface theta equal to 0. Similarly, if we take this surface, so the normal again will be like this, which is e theta. So the normal for h theta equals to theta naught, the normal will be along a theta, which would be like 0, 0, 1. So again, by using this Cauchy relation, we'll end up with these components tau r theta and tau theta theta. And as the surface is traction free, we get this condition on h theta equals to theta naught, our tau r theta equals to tau theta theta, both are 0, being a traction free surface here. So we have got 4 conditions here. So the first condition, the first 2 conditions we are getting from the traction boundary conditions on the surface theta equals to theta equals to 0, and other two boundary conditions from the traction, which is traction free actually, from the traction applied on theta equals to theta. So we'll use these four conditions and we'll find four equations to find these four constants. So let us find this. So now let us find first tau RR. So tau RR, those expressions are given. For example, this tau RR, which is 1 over R del phi by del R plus 1 over R square del theta square, which comes out to be times f of theta plus d2f over d theta square. Similarly, if we use that expression for tau theta theta, which will be del square phi over del r square, which is equals to 2 times f of theta, and tau r theta equals to minus del by del r of 1 over r del phi by del theta. This comes out to be minus of df over d theta. So these expressions can be found by using the relations given in the question itself. So now we put these boundary conditions into these relations, and we have already got the expression for f of theta now. So let's put these boundary conditions. So I will write it somewhere. Okay, so first boundary condition, we need tau r theta and tau theta theta for putting the boundary conditions. So let's put the first boundary condition, tau r theta at theta equal to 0. So basically we have tau r theta tau r theta, which is minus of df by d theta. So if we differentiate this particular thing, we get minus of this thing. So this 2a cos 2 theta minus 2b sin 2 theta plus and tau theta theta, which is equals to 2 times f of theta, which will be a sin 2 theta plus b cos 2 theta plus c theta plus k. Now we use these boundary conditions. So tau r theta equal to 0 and theta equal to 0. So if we put this theta equal to 0, we get 2a plus c equals to 0. So the first equation we have obtained is 2a plus c equal to 0. Now the second equation is tau theta theta equals to minus q on theta equal to 0. So we put theta equal to 0 in this expression. Theta equal to 0 will contribute from this. So we have got 2b plus 2d equals to minus q. So from this we can simply write this equation to be d plus d, which is equal to minus q by 2. So this is the second equation we have got. We have used these boundary conditions, which we have obtained from the traction boundary conditions on the face theta equal to 0. Now use the traction free surface theta equals to theta naught. So from this condition, we have on this surface theta equal to theta naught, we don't have any tractions, so tau r theta and tau theta theta on theta equals to theta naught are 0. So we put theta equals to theta naught into these equations, and we get other two boundary conditions. So tau r theta, which is this theta at theta, so we get 2a cos 2 theta naught minus 2b sin 2 theta naught plus c equals to 0, and tau theta theta at theta equals to theta naught is also 0. So we get a sin 2 theta naught plus b cos 2 theta naught plus c theta naught plus d equals to 0. So we have got set of equations. So now we can solve by solving equation star we can get the constants A, B, C and D. So basically we have used this traction boundary conditions on phase theta equals 0 and theta equals to theta naught to find the constants which are there in the expression of f of theta. So we are not asked to solve these questions, but we are just asked to find these expressions from which we can find these constants A, B, C, D, which can be put into this f of theta. So the last part of the question is, now we have to find, by considering the tractions on the surface r equals to r naught. Now we are supposed to consider the surface r equals to r naught. Suppose if we take this surface particularly, so this radius is r naught, we will write it here. This is x axis, this is y axis, this is r naught. This is traction, uniform traction Q. Now we have to find this expression for tau r theta at r equals to r naught, k theta 0 to theta was the question. So now, without integrating, without exactly solving explicitly we are solving, we don't have to find this expression. So what we do here, so we take moment about the origin. Now we know the moment obtained is integration over surface x cross t ds. Now the position vector here, if we take any element on this particular surface, this length of this element would be r naught d theta. So we are considering unity thickness into the board. So the surface element will be, so ds basically will be r naught d theta into unit. R naught d theta into unit. And if we take the position vector, so the position vector will be r naught er. So position vector, this particular differential element of this origin will be simply r naught, and which is directed along the radial direction. So the position vector will be x r naught er. So if we do this x cross t, so tractions on this particular surface would be tau r and tau r theta, because the normal to this surface will be pointing along the radial direction, which will be given as 1, 0. So if we again use this Cauchy relation, tau t equals to tau n, from this we will get this traction to be tau r and tau r theta on this particular surface r equals to r naught. Now if we do this x cross t, the only contribution will be getting from er cross e theta. So this will be contributing, this will not be contributing. So we get r naught t theta e theta. So this is the position vector on this particular surface, and this is the traction contributing. Actually the traction would be tau r, which is like this tr t theta tr er plus t theta e theta. But as we are taking a cross product with er, so this term will not be contributing. So by solving this, we can get t theta er plus e theta is Ez. Er plus e theta is Ez. So on this surface, we have the moments coming from the applied force or load, attraction Q, and the stress components, which are tau r theta. So the summation of the moment, as this part is being in equilibrium, the summation of the moments will be 0. So if we do it here, we get therefore this integration over this surface. So this surface will be this 0 to theta naught, this r naught t theta times r naught, this would be Ez. D theta which will be equals to the contribution coming from the applied load, which will be simply minus q naught times r naught square minus q times r naught square divided by 2. Because this is uniform loading, so we have learned this in strength of material course. We have uniform loading on this particular phase, so its equivalent will be like q naught times r, which is this r naught, which is this radius, and it will be acted somewhere in the middle. So if we take the moment about the origin, so it will be q times r naught multiplied by r naught by 2. So considering the direction or summing it to the zero, being it in equilibrium, so we get this particular equation. So this will be in Ez direction. So now we have this r naught square integration of this t theta is actually t theta equals to tau r theta. So tau r theta d theta 0 to theta naught equals to minus q naught, so minus q r naught square divided by 2. So simply we get 0 to theta naught tau r theta d theta, which is equal to minus q by 2. So without solving, so we don't have to find an expression for tau r theta using these constants, because we have not solved for these constants. We just got an expressions for all expressions from which we can find those constants, but we are not supposed to find those constants. So without using those constants or without explicitly finding this tau r theta, we have found this value. So this value, as I mentioned, this can be found by taking a moment about the origin. Okay, so next we'll move on to the next question. The next question is from midterm exam. Dated 2 November 2019. 2 November 2019. Okay, so the question is, we have a disk of inner radius A and outer radius B. This is A, this is B. It is subjected to equal and opposite moments being applied on the surfaces R equals to A and R equals to B. So basically we assume the unit thickness into the board, which is from the Z direction. So these equal and opposite moments are being applied on the surfaces R equal to A and R equal to B through some tangential tractions. So these moments are created using some tangential tractions which are independent of theta. So tangential tractions means if we consider any surface R, if we consider R equal to B, the normal to which will be along 1, 0. So now again if we use this tau m, which would be tau r, tau r theta. So these moments are applied to this tangential tractions tau r theta. So we cannot put a boundary condition on tau r theta here. We can put a boundary condition on tau r to be 0 on this surface and this surface, but tau r theta in general cannot be 0 because this moment is generated through this tangential tractions tau r theta applied on the surfaces R equals to A and R equals to B. Okay, so for this question we are given with this radial displacement UR, which is equal to C1 cos theta plus C2 sin theta plus C3 by R. Now we are supposed to find the C1, C2 and C3 constants. We are assuming that UZ to be 0, that in board displacement to be 0, and again the condition is given like U theta over the two-dimensional domain, the average of U theta to be 0. So we cannot assume that U theta should be 0 everywhere, but its average should be 0 over the entire two-dimensional domain. So this u r in general, u r and u theta can be the functions of r and theta. Now we have to make certain assumptions based on the problem. So we can see that, see this, in this problem, these moments are applied which are equal and opposite. And one more thing is given, that these moments are applied to the tangential tractions which are independent of theta. So from this geometry, or from the symmetry of this problem. So from the geometry, as being this moment applied on the surface A and B, and those are applied to tractions which are independent of theta. From the symmetry of the problem, we assume that u r to be function of r alone. So this is very important because it is mentioned in the question that make reasonable assumptions and state them clearly. So this assumption of u r being independent of theta is being made from the basis of symmetry of the problem, as it is mentioned in the problem that these moments are being applied to the tractions on that particular surface which is independent of theta. So we assume from the symmetry that u r are no more functions of theta, and now we have got an expression for u r to be c3 by r itself. Now next we have to solve for this c1, c2 and c3 now. Okay, so from this now we have only u1. So u theta in general can be function of r comma theta, and uz we have assumed to be 0. Now we use the strain displacement relation to find the strains. So epsilon rr, which we can find u r over del r equals to minus c3 by r square. Epsilon theta theta equals to u r over r. So these expressions are actually given in the question. So we can use these expressions. So epsilon theta theta which will be equal to c3 by r square. So again here, while solving this particular problem, we have made an assumption that due to the symmetry, this u r is a function of r alone, and similarly this u theta would be the function of r alone. So basically this problem can be treated as an axisymmetric problem, so that these displacements are functions of r alone and there is no involvement of theta in this particular problem. So from this we have got epsilon r to be minus c3 by r square, epsilon theta theta to be c3 by r square. So from this we find trace of epsilon, which is equal to epsilon r plus epsilon theta theta, which would be 0. Now we use these expressions for stresses based on the strains. So from that we get this tau rr to be 2 times mu rr, because the stress of epsilon is now 0. So now we have got this minus 2 mu c3 over r square for this tau rr expression. Now we are supposed to find these constants now, this c3 constants. So for constant we have this boundary, we have this boundary r equals to a and r equals to b. So on r equals to a and r equals to b, as I mentioned, the tractions would be tau rr and tau r theta. So here we know these moments are being applied to some tractions which are tangential. So this tau r theta are basically non-zero on this surface, but the normal tractions on this surface we can equate to 0. So on r equals to a, r equals to b, we have got tau rr to be 0. So we have got an expression for tau rr. So tau rr at r equals to b, let's say equal to 0, this will give us c3 to be 0. So the c3 to be 0 means we will get u r which is equal to 0. So what we have done so far is we have given the expression for the radial displacement C1 cos theta C2 sin theta plus C3 by R. By using the argument of symmetry of the problem that these moments are being applied to tangential tractions independent of theta, we have assumed that u, r and u theta are functions of r alone, and there is no dependence of theta on this particular displacement fields. So from these displacement fields, using the strain displacement relation, we have found the expression for strains and trace of epsilon. By using this trace strain relation, we have found tau r only, because we want to use the boundary conditions, traction boundary conditions on the surfaces r equals to a and r equals to b. As the C3 is involved in this expression, so we use this boundary condition that tau r on the surface r equals to b to be 0. From that we get C3 equals to 0. If we put this C3 in this expression, we get this u r to be 0. Now we don't know the expression for u theta. So basically we use the governing differential equations to find an expression for u theta. So we have got this u r to be 0. Okay, we have got this u r to be equal to 0. Now we use the first governing equation. Now u r equal to 0. Now if we use the first governing equation, the trace of epsilon itself is 0. So the first term will contribute to 0. Again, u r is 0. So the last term which we get from first governing equation, we get del u theta upon del theta equal to 0, which is consistent with our assumption that we have made assumption that u theta is a function of r alone. So it is consistent with the assumptions we have made on the based on the symmetry of the problem. So from now we use second governing equation. So what it leads to is we get the first term inside the bracket del over del r 1 over r del by del theta of r u theta to be equal to 0, because u theta is independent of theta and u r itself is a 0. So the first term inside the square brackets del by del r of 1 over r del by del theta of r times u theta equal to 0. So if we solve this particular differential equation, so we get u theta equals to some constant c1 times r plus c2 divided by r. Now these constants are just different from whatever that given in the expression r1 u r, that c1 cos theta c2 sin theta. These are different actually. So otherwise we'll use a r plus b over r. Sorry, a and b are in radius. We'll use k1r plus k2 over r. So we have got this expression for u theta now. Now we have to find these constants k1 and k2. As we have already found the constant c3, c1 and c2 we have already removed on the basis of symmetry of the problem. Now we have to decide for these constants k1 and k2. So for these two constants we need two conditions. So one condition will be taken from this moment being applied on this surface r equals to a and r equals to b, and the next condition, the second condition, will be taken from the statement that is given that average u theta on the entire two-dimensional domain to be equal to 0. So now we will use these conditions to find the expressions for this u theta and this k1 and k2. Okay, so the first condition we use as a moment. So we write somewhere. So now we have got this u r equals to 0, u theta equals to some k1 r plus k2 over r. Now we find this tau r theta, which is equal to, okay, so first we'll find the expressions for strains. The remaining strain, which was epsilon r theta, equals to half of (1 over r del mu r by del theta plus r del over del r of mu theta over r. So from this expression we get this expression for this epsilon r theta, which is equal to minus k2 over r square, minus k2 over r square. So from that we get r theta equals to minus 2 mu k2 over r square. So we have got an expression for tau r theta. Now we use this tau r theta for this boundary condition, which involves the moment. So again, on surface the moment is obtained like integration over surface x cross t. So always use this expression for finding the moment, so that we cannot end up with having some mistakes in the cycles. So now this moment, if we take a surface, or edge r equals to a. So the moment on this inner surface is minus m ez in ez direction. So the position vector on this surface would be a times er, and now again its traction would be tau r theta and tau r. So we have already known that tau r will be 0, because that we have got an expression for tau r to be minus, it includes some C3 constant which we got to be 0. So tau r is basically 0. So the only term contributing to this moment will be this t theta terms. So x cross t will be a times er cross t theta, which is equal to tau r theta in t theta direction. This would be a tau r theta in ez direction. So now if we use this condition, so the area element ds would be, suppose this, if we take this particular region, if we take this particular, so this would be ab theta. So, and we are assuming that unity thickness into the board, so we will end up with having ds equal to ab theta. So now this ab theta. So integration over surface, again the surface will be 0 to 2 pi. This x cross t, which is like a times tau r theta times kd theta, equals to this moment equals to minus m times ez. This is again not written in the direction, is equal to ez. So basically this tau r theta, so tau r theta, it is only dependent on r. So this tau r theta is calculated at r equals to a, because we are considering the surface r equals to a. So as it is independent of theta, we can take this out. So 2 pi a square into this constant minus 2 mu k2 over a square, which will be equal to minus m, which will be equals to minus m. Okay, so by solving this particular equation, we get this k2. Okay, so I have made a mistake with this sign here, because this normal actually is in the direction of normal on r equals to a. This normal is actually minus 1 comma 0. So these fractions will be minus tau r minus tau r theta. So here we get a plus sign here. So this will be minus. So I have compensated one negative sign over here. So we have got this condition here. So by solving this, we lead to k2 equals to a square got cancelled. So what we did here actually, so we have got two constants K1 and K2. We need to solve for these two constants K1 and K2. So we'll use this moment, the boundary condition in terms of this moment. So the moment is obtained through this condition x cross t over the area element. So if we take this particular surface R equals to A, and if we take the differential element, the length of this element or area element will be A d theta into unity, which is in the direction of inside the board, which is in the direction of z direction. So if we use this particular expression and we use this traction conditions, the tractions obtained from the Gaussian relation, so we get this expression, and from that we are able to find one of the constants K. Now we use another expression. So we have got one constant from this. So for finding out the another constants, we are given the condition that average u theta over entire two-dimensional domain will be equal to 0. Again, the two-dimensional domain would be, so this again two-dimensional domain in general will be dr d or dr d theta. So we have got an expression like entire surface u theta r dr d theta equals to 0 now. Now again, u theta is independent of theta. So we can have this 2 pi integration 0 to a to b u theta r dr equals to 0. So this we have written from the fact that u theta is independent of theta. U theta is a function of r alone. So integration over d theta, which is running from 0 to 2 pi, this 2 pi can be taken out. So we have this expression like integration a to b u theta r dr equals to 0. Now we put this expression a to b u theta multiplied by r. So this is k1 r square plus k2 integration over dr, which is equal to 0. By solving this, we get k1 b cube minus a cube over 3 plus k2 b minus a, which is equal to 0. So let's solve this equation now. So we'll get an equation in terms of k1 and k2, and we have already found the value for k2. I'll write it here. K2 equals to minus 10 divided by 4 pi. Okay, so b cube minus a cube can be factorized in terms of b minus a. So we'll have an expression k1 into bracket b square plus ab plus a square by 3 equals to minus k. Equals to minus k. So we have got the expression for this k2. So therefore, this k1 will be minus 3 k2 divided by b square plus ab plus a square. So we have got an expression for k2 now. So let's put this into this. So we get equals to 3m upon 4 pi mu into bracket b square plus ab plus a square. So we have found an expression for both k1 and k2 constants. So our job is done now. So we have got u r to be equal to 0 identically, uz to be equal to 0, and we have got an expression for u theta, which is again a function of r alone. So here this k1 r plus k2 upon r, where this k1 equals to 3m upon 4 pi mu into bracket b square plus ab plus a square, and k2 equals to minus m upon 4 pi mu. So these constants are found. So basically, we have found an expression for this k1 and k2 using the boundary condition in terms of moment, and another boundary condition we have obtained from the statement given that the average of u theta over the entire surface will be 0. So first equation we have got from this, and from the second condition we will be able to find this k1 and k2 in terms of m and properties of the material. Okay, so we will see one more problem. I'll just wrap this up in short time. I'll just mention the boundary conditions to be followed for this particular problem. Okay, so this problem is from end semester exam, final exam. On this is question number 2. So we have a truncated wedge here. So we have the axial net load being applied on this truncated wedge, and the surfaces this is A, this is B. The net axial force acting on this particular flat surfaces is P. These surfaces, so this is Y direction, this will be X direction, and these are traction free conditions. So these angles, this angle is theta naught. So these surfaces are traction free surfaces. So we are given, so I will just discuss the boundary conditions for this particular problem. So we are given the stress distribution C1 cos theta divided by R tau theta theta, which is equal to C2 log R plus C3 sin theta upon R tau R theta, which is equal to C4 times R. Okay, so we'll discuss just boundary conditions. So we'll take first lateral surface, which is theta equals to plus minus theta. So these surfaces are traction free. There is no traction being applied on this particular surface. So normal to this surface, suppose if we take only this theta equals to theta naught, so the normal will be around E theta direction. So this is our R, this is our theta. So normal will be around E theta. So normal we can write in R theta coordinate system as 0, 1. So our tractions, if we use this Gaussian relation, will end up having tractions will be tau R theta and tau theta theta with this particular norm. So traction free boundary conditions means on theta equals to plus minus theta naught, tau R theta and theta equals to plus minus theta naught equals to tau theta theta, or theta equals to plus minus theta naught equal to 0. So we have got this boundary conditions. So by solving these boundary conditions, I will just write the answer. We will get C4 to be 0, C2 and C3 to be 0. So we will have only one constant to be determined, which is C1. So alone from this traction free boundary conditions, we will be able to find this constant C2, C3 and C4. So you can get, by applying these boundary conditions, you will get C4, C2 and C3 to be equal to 0. Now for finding C1, so now you can see here, this action load, this net action load is applied on the flat surface. So we cannot take some surface, this flat surface cannot be represented as some R equals to constant. So to represent this flat surface and to find the net axial force acting on that surface, we have to transform our stresses from polar coordinate system to our Cartesian coordinate system. So for that, we use this expression tau in xy will be q times tau in r theta times q transpose, where this q, which is an orthogonal matrix, can be formed as cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. So by using this expression, we will get an expression for tau xy, tau xx to be equal to C1 cos q theta divided by r. Tau yy will be equal to C1 cos theta sin square theta divided by r, and tau xy to be equal to C1 cos square theta sin theta over r. Now to use this condition that net axial force acting on this flat surface to be equal to P, we have to transform everything into Cartesian coordinate. So this cos theta, sin theta are, these terms need to be transformed to our coordinate system. So we'll use this. So we'll transform like C1, we'll multiply with R cos theta, again R square sin square theta divided by R cube. And now we can write this as, now you can see here, for example, if we write R cos theta is like C1x R square sin square theta y square divided by this thing. Okay, so this would be, we have already multiplied by R cube R raised to 4, which will be x square plus y square bracket square. So similarly, this term, so we can multiply with R cube, so it will be R cube cos cube theta, which we can write as x cube divided by R raised to 4, which is x square plus y square bracket square. And similarly, we can find these expressions for tau xx, tau yy and tau xy. So once we have got this expression for tau xx, tau yy and tau xy in terms of x and y, now we can use this condition that the net axial force acting on flat surface. The flat surface, if you take this flat surface, the flat surface is actually x equal to a over tan theta. So we know the net axial force acting is 1 ds. Now the ds would be, we have taken this flat surface, this is a, so this is y direction, this is y direction. So this flat surface, the differential element on this surface would be simply dy, because we have assumed unity thickness inside the board. So this will give us, so the normal to this surface again would be minus 1 comma 0. Now you have taken this surface, you have taken this is x equal to a by tan theta naught. Normal will be pointing towards this, which will be minus of ex, because x is pointing downward, so this normal will be minus of ex. Normal will be written in xy or Cartesian coordinate system as minus 1 comma 0. So the fractions acting on this particular plane would be minus tau xx minus tau yy, which would be equal to, this p is acting in negative ex direction, which would be minus p comma 0 on that particular surface. So this we can write this condition as integration minus a to a tau xx dy, which is equal to, this tau xx is computed at x equal to a by tan theta naught, which is equal to this axial force when you apply. So we are left with only one constant, which is one constant, which is C1, and now we are using the net axial force acting in this particular direction to this expression, and by using this tau xx expression we have obtained, which consists this constant C1, and using this condition we will be able to find C1 constant. So while integrating this thing, you will end up with having certain complicated terms. You are not supposed to integrate those terms. The integration for such complicated terms will always be given in the exam. So for example, so you end up with this particular term like that. So you have an expression like, so integration minus a to a. So if we put that x equal to a by tan theta, so this C1 a cube over tan cube theta naught 1 over a square cos square theta naught plus y square bracket square dy equals to p. So carrying out the integration of this particular term is quite complicated. So you will not be asked for integrating this particular part. So the expression for this integration is given in the question paper itself. So if we use that particular expression, so you end up with having this C1 to be equal to P upon theta naught plus sin theta naught cos theta naught. Okay, just to summarize what we have done in this particular problem, we are given with the stress distribution in polar coordinate system. So these expressions, so here we have actually 4 surfaces. So on these flat surfaces, which we cannot represent in polar coordinate system using some r equal to constant kind of term. So what we did actually is we have considered these traction free surfaces, which will be theta equals to plus theta naught and theta equals to minus theta naught. So by using the normal and Gaussian relation, we'll be able to write a boundary condition tau r theta and tau theta theta on these surfaces theta equals to plus minus theta naught are 0, and by using those expressions we got C2, C3 and C4 to be equal to 0 from this traction boundary condition itself. So we are left with only one constant C1, and for finding that particular constant we have used this axial force, which is net axial force in the x direction. So again, we cannot use this polar coordinate, so this stress components in polar coordinates, because the net force is being applied at some x equal to constant phase. So we cannot use it on some r equal to constant. So if this phase could be r equal to constant, then it would have been some curves r equal to constant, but it's not the case here. The surface is some x equal to constant, this is also some x equal to constant. So for putting this net axial force in the boundary condition, we have to transform our stresses from polar coordinate to xy coordinate system or Cartesian coordinate system. So after doing this, after getting all these expressions for tau xy, tau yy and tau xx in terms of x and y, now we'll use the boundary condition that net force acting on this surface x equal to a by tan theta naught, which will be equal to p. Again, that net force acting on this any surface will be given as integration of tau ds, where this ds is an area element. We are considering unity thickness inside the board. So this ds will be simply dy, and it is running from minus a to a. And this t we can find from this expression for Gaussian relation. Normal for this particular surface will be minus of Px, so we can write as minus 1 comma 0. So tractions would be written as minus tau xx minus tau, sorry, this has to be tau xy. Minus tau xx minus tau xy. Now integration over this would be, this is minus 3 px plus 0 py. So you can check back. So you must get integration minus a to a, this tau xy, x equal to a over tan theta naught dy, you should get to be 0. You can check, you can verify this, because this net force is in the direction of Ex. There is no net force acting on the surface along the y direction. So you must get this integration of tau xy over this area element to be equal to 0. You can verify that. Now by using this particular condition, we'll find tau xx at that particular surface. Integration, again this integration involves some complicated terms. You are not supposed to integrate this term. These expressions are given in the question paper. By using this, we are able to find the constant p of c1, which is equal to p upon theta naught sin theta plus sin theta naught cos theta naught. So you can verify the other condition tau xy, which will be, I think, odd function of 1. So you'll be automatically getting integration tau xy dy, which will be 0. So just few things regarding your while you are solving this particular problems. So most of the times you'll be either given with the displacement fields or stress fields. So if you are given with the displacement fields, you have to find strain and stresses, and you just have to use the boundary conditions accordingly. So if you are able to use the traction boundary conditions or displacement boundary conditions appropriately, so it will be very easy to solve the questions. So make sure that you identify certain boundary conditions very appropriately. If there are to be assumptions to be made depending on the problem, like we have seen in one of the problems, you have to make certain smart guesses in some examples. You should be able to do that. So if you follow this particular thing, you should be doing good in your exams. Okay, we'll stop.